Okay, hello. I was thinking a little bit about the Planned Parenthood protest. And yes, this is to you, David, and how you handled it. And, well, I came to the conclusion that some of what you did was wrong. Some of what you did is controversial, but depending on your views, it might have been right. And some of it you just let slip away. And you shouldn't have apologized for it all. Let me explain. See, people have tried to tell you that it's not your place to talk to children. You've been hit in the back of the head because of it. You've been fined, or at least called into the police for it. I imagine you were run out of town in Alaska. And a report was drawn up upon you in Baltimore. I think it was Baltimore. I'm sorry, Pittsburgh. That's right. Pittsburgh. Anyway, you see, because here's the way it goes. A child is not necessarily the property of the parent or guardian. But while they have some inalienable rights, they are under the care, more than not, of the parent to see how they raise a child, not the state. Although in this day and age, that's an arguable statement too. But by and large, even in our, more progressive society, and the ramifications of that, positive rights versus negative rights, and the rights of the state, or the responsibilities of the state versus the rights of the parent, it's more or less the rights of the parent. Although there are some arguable things that are not right, conservative and progressive. But see, what you did is you took away the parent's right. It was the parent's right to tell their children what they wanted, and their prayer vigil, which I agree with you, was a protest. I don't think it was their right to tell you not to film their children. I might be wrong on that. But if it's a public function, then I think, and this is some of the things I agree with you on, you had a perfect right to film people, which child, their children might have been in the background. But when you're specifically addressing a child, no, you did not have the right to step out of line like that and ask her questions. Although the lady did give permission to talk to her, I think you stepped out of bounds there. Because there is a standard to talk to children. You can naysay that and him-haw that, but beyond partisan politics, there is a standard. You don't ask a child age-inappropriate things. And that's where you made your mistake. If you had looked up and asked her grandmother that, then you would have been in your rights to talk in front of a child, I think. Although some people would certainly disagree, and I can see why. You could ask her the same question in front of the child by simply not addressing her. You missed an opportunity there. I support reproductive rights. I sometimes question abortion a little bit, but that's a whole subject about abortion. Basically, my thing about abortion is I'm not really comfortable with it if, for no other medical reason, if the fetus is viable and all that, I don't see why a child should be brought to term if the fetus is viable outside the womb. If it's viable outside the womb, it's viable inside the womb. But that's just my personal view. And more than not, that could be argued also, although I disagree with it personally. But it is the fact that it's I just don't know how to explain it to you that you'd understand. The fact of the matter is that you have to respect a child. And mothers have the right to, just like they do with children they're taken care of, they have the right, in this case, to make the choice for their care for themselves at the child's, well, I guess, expense before in vitro, before they're born, but not after. That seems kind of strange to me, but then again, infanticide isn't my thing either. But in any case, I respect and endorse the reproductive choices of women. It is their body, it is their right. And if they're not burdening society upon it, like somebody doing drugs and going into the street or driving a vehicle, or, burdening the medical system, well, that's a slippery slope too. That's another conversation. Because I take a view of that as unconstitutional when big medicine and big companies start canceling insurances and denying you working when you don't comply with weight rules or smoking rules or maybe even mental health. What if there was a complete wellness policy on all work? Would you like that? That tattoos on your face is pretty much that. But that's a different conversation. I'm just saying that I support one thing one way, and varying on the degree, I support the other thing another. Or maybe that's another conversation, another video. But in any case, that is the point. Is that a woman has a choice. And you missed it. And that's all there really is to it. That's where you made your mistake. And why you can't respect women and children, I just do not know. It sunk you. If you would have thought about that for 2 seconds, you would have realized that you had a golden opportunity to talk about reproductive rights and what you could do about it. You could have just nailed them. Matter of fact, if you ever feel like it, I think that's something that you could do. If you're going to go out and talk to people about things anyway, it's sure better than this idiotic niggering that's just offensive, to be honest. You asked me to find my conscience about racial issues with the Trayvon Martin thing and everything. Well, yeah, I found my conscience, and I said it before. You're the only one that gives me white shame, because you make me embarrassed of the things I think about. You're the kind of person who sits there and talks on and on and on and makes me friggin' facepalm and go, oh, jeez, how much white privilege can you stand? You came from an area of white privilege and you don't see it. Sure, you're a lot more comfortable around blacks. I'm a little bit more comfortable around Hispanics. But the fact of the matter is, you just don't see how your white privilege plays into that. And because you don't, it actually helps you. You're so white, you can't even see it. But what you do is wrong. It is. Everyone's trying to tell you. And that's because you have no respect. And that's why you keep trying to refer onto me or infer I'm racist. Because at heart, you're the one that's really the racist. And I don't care about racism. I don't care for it. I don't care about it. But that's my thing. You're the one who does. And so you're the one should have to accept that if you want those kind of progressive views, you have to abide by the group choice. And your cause didn't fit. That's it. I hope you understand this. Allergies here. Sorry. I always get a little... Whew. Nothing like the morning allergies in my area. So, on reproductive rights, yeah, tentatively, I agree with you. Because I have more of a progressive view in that area than I do a conservative one. And even though it's shocking to hear you talk to church people like that, I agree that yes, they shouldn't be taking their children out there if they're going to use them as shields. But you completely enabled that and gave them the high ground that they didn't deserve. So don't be sorry for what you did. Be sorry for what you did wrong. And once you get it through your head that people have a right to have a choice about their children, or even in your case, they have a responsibility to be correct with children, either conservative or progressive, take your pick. Take your choice, take your pick. Because either way, you're contradicting yourself. Now, I hope that clears it up. And I hope if you ever see another thing like this again, you'll bear these words in mind. Because I'm the one who has the sense to tell you, and takes the time to bother to tell you, despite personal feelings, that all you had to do was look up and address the grandmother. And because in that case, it doesn't matter what you said about the child, because they brought a child to a protest. But be prepared if it was the other way around, that people from conservative views could say that's malarkey. Just like if a friggin' Tea Party person went in at a counter protest and you had a gay rights thing, let's say, just for example, I don't know, I couldn't think of anything else off the top of my head, and you had a child saying, glad to be proud, you know, you're gonna friggin', if some no on gay marriage supporter Tea Partier started frigging saying vulgar things to you in front of a child, then that's the example of the shoe on the other foot. Because when you say it in front of them, when they're trying to pray and stuff, it's the same thing. It's just which side you're on. So that's how to look at that from the other side. Do you see my point? It's not two ways about it. If they start friggin' getting foul-mouthed in front of your children or children that you're with or somebody's with you, then you can't say, well, you're wrong because we're right. I'm sure some people will, but realistically, that don't really cut it. So you've got to ask, does two wrongs make a right? I think that's two wrongs make a right. Maybe it's one right cancels out a wrong. See my point? So, were you even right at all? I don't know. Kind of like, what side are you on? But personally, while I think that you were right to talk about reproductive rights, I also think that in a confrontational thing like that, children aren't a place for protests or prayer vigils. What a lame thing. I agree with you there. But you didn't see it. You dropped the ball. So, I hope next time that's food for thought. Okay? Oh, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that Trayvon Martin thing, too. Because, you putting up few videos and other things trying to smear me about stuff like that, I've said in a number of videos how I feel. And they're all out in the open, and they're all public. No one's hiding anything. Anyone who wants to can go through any of my videos and see anything I've said out in the open, without double talk and without hesitation. And without saying, oh, this is just the way it is. Because no, my views have changed. I have had an open mind, and I do care. So, there's that. And don't be sorry. Be sorry that you didn't. Yeah. I think that's about right. Be sorry that you didn't get it right. And now you know. Bye, David.